I got a deck profile here about my Crusadia's deck. Came in second place last week with my deck. So I'm going to show you a deck profile about my second place Crusadia's deck. Now let's get right to it. Now we got two Crusadia's Leonidas. This card is real good for pierce damage. When somebody goes in defense mode, you could just special summon this to the card pointer of the link monster of their link monsters. Then you almost got game for this card because this card is real good if somebody going defense. Crusadia Leonidas is real good. Number 2, Crusadia Allboard. Crusadia Allboard is real good for in the graveyard. If you have her in graveyard, somebody end up hitting you for damage, and if you got her, your monster won't be destroyed by a car or by a car in battle, because then you have your full access of you protecting yourself from her. Because she is real good, like a Return of the Dragon Lord. She is good at protecting yourself. She is real good. She could withstand a Dark Hole in a Raigeki. Alright, we're going to Crusadia's Draco. Now, Crusadia's Draco is good for looping, for bouncing cards from the graveyard. You summon one Crusadia card, you could loop with Crusadia Draco and special summon him. You always want to keep 3 of him in the deck because he's good for special summon Lupo. Special summon him, and then card point. Then you can add any Crustelia's card back to your hand. He is real good for that. Now we're getting to Crustelia Maximum. Whew, he is real good, y'all. Like, Crustelia Maximum is real good for doubling up your link monster attack. Like, doubling up their effect damage. It wouldn't double up their attack though, but it will double up the damage, so that you could just get OTK, like, straight up. It's like straight Leo Dancer all over the place with the Crustelia I seen from. You have him on card point, he just go for a straight game. Like, not by itself, but only if you double him up with the link. That's the way you get your game faster with him. So always keep him at 3. Now, Crustelia Rakium, I think. I really don't know, can't pronounce it that well, but you want to keep him at 2 at least. I mean, he's okay at 3, but I bumped him up to 3 because he's good at popping cards in back row. He's good at back rowing and target any card on field. So you might want to keep this maybe at 2 or 3. It's good at 2. Will be good for it because I'm going to reduce it to 2. But I'm keeping it at 3 because he's real good at popping stuff. Now, I do have my ashes, but I'm not really putting ashes in right now in this deck because I'm trying to try out some Veilers. So it's best if you use either some Veilers in this deck, maybe some Veilers, but mostly Ash. So at least have 2 Ash in this build. So 2 Ash will be good. Then Veiler, because real good is Veiler. Veiler is real good. It's good at stopping Trickstar Candace and the freaking Nova Knight combo. It's good at stopping those. 2 is good enough. And 2 Ogres, you want to bump it up to 2. People talk about Ogre is not that great, but I see if Ogre is still good because Ogre could still get rid of your field spells and everything. So it's best if you keep Ogre at 2 because Ogre is still pretty much good in this build. 2 hand traps is about the best far thing you want to go from. And 1 Monster Reborn. We all know it's limited to 1. We know it's at 1, so 1 Monster Reborn is good. and 2 Pot of Desires. So you want to hurry up and go through your deck so you can go for your combos plays. So 2 Pot of Desires is good enough in this deck. So you always want to keep 2 in this deck. And Crystalia's Power, you want to bump this up to 2. Because you could search this with the link cards. So Crystalia's Power is better at 2 than at 1 or 3 because it can be bricks for it. So 2 copies is good enough. And Crusadia Revival, you want to keep that card at 1 because you can search this off too with the Tiger combo. The Link Tiger combo. We'll get right to that soon, but this card is good. This card is good for one-shotting your opponent too. You can hit all monsters on your opponent's side of the field, 1 each. It's just ridiculous. 1 each for each hit. So you basically want to have this at 1. And Crusadia Power, we're going to go back from. You want to have this at 2 because it's good for protecting yourself from Ash and Ogre. So you want to keep this at 2. Do not you really want to, you can really sort this out for 3 if you want, but I would have it at 2 because you can actually search this out. Now we're getting to the World Legacy season. You want to have at least 2 copies of this. I was gonna go for a Soul Charge, but I see from in this deck, Soul Charge is not that great for it. So you really have 2 copies of this so you can go for a Reborn. This is like your second copy of Monster Reborn, this deck. So you want to have at least 2 copies of this in this deck. This card is so good. 2 copies. You can bring any card in your grave on the field. So this card is amazing. Alright. Now we're getting to Sky Striker play. Now, people has been talking about this card's getting banned, how you could loop with this, with the Sky Strikers. I kept it at 3 in this Crystalia's deck because the Sky Strikers are real good for late playing. So you want to keep 3 copies of this. I know I don't have Engage yet, but this card is real good. Like, if this card get hit, then we'll know. But other than that, this card is good for the Crystalia's deck because then you can loop and play the late monster under the token play. So at least have 3 copies of this. 3 copies is good. Now, Reinforcement of the Army. You want to have 1 copy of this. We know it's at 1, but Reinforcement of the Army allows you to search a Crystalia's all board with reinforcement. So 1 copy is good. 2 Called by the Graves. I will bump this up to 3, but right now I'm keeping it at 2 right now because Call by the Grave is real good to stopping Ash and everything in people's hand when people try and interrupt your combo. So I kept it at 2 because I may bump it up to 3 because 3 Ashes, 3 Call by the Grave is real good. So I may bump it up to 3 later. Kaiju Slumber. Whew. Kaiju Slumber is real good. It's real good. It interrupts your opponents so bad. You have this in hand. It's just a wrap. You're just dead. Like, they can't even respond to that unless they have Ash or anything in hand to get rid of Kaiju Slumber. So you want to keep Kaiju Slumber at 1. Well, it's already at 1, so you rather use this in a Crystalia's deck. It's super good. Now, Red Reboot. At least have 2 Red Reboots in the deck because it's good for hand trapping. So 2 Red Reboots is good enough. So 2 Red Reboots and 1 Crystalia Vanguard. So you want to have 3 traps in this deck because having 4 it's okay, but I see from having 3 traps is fair enough because you want to go for your monster combos. So 2 Red Reboots and 2 Crystalia's Vanguard, but we're going to change them to Infinite and Permanent to later. So we're just keeping Red Reboots in here because Just in case we fight a lot of back rowing, it gets annoying, so this helps. Now we're getting to my links. 3 Crystelius Magius. You want to have 3 copies of him in this deck because he is real good for search combos and card pointing. This is the monster I was telling you. He's good at searching monsters out of your deck. So you want to have 3 copies of him. He is real good. And Crusadia Rax, oh my god, y'all. This Crusadia Rax is just amazing. Like, he's good at searching the spell card. And you could add the spell in the Crusadia monster card to your hand. Guys, this is real good of him. And he can get any of the search Crusadia searches of the not the monsters, but the spells and traps. And you could just hurry up and add them to your hand and go for the search and keep your plays balanced so you can go for the game. He is good. And I bump him up to 3 because I haven't put any other monsters, any other link monsters, so that's why you see 3 copies. But it will get changed soon. 3 copies of Crusadia Max. Crusadia Max, you want to keep that at 3 because he's good. But it's a straight pure build, so I haven't put any other links in here, so you want to keep this at 2 mostly. 2 copies of each will be the best thing. But Crusadia Max is good because he go for the double up attack and each card is link pointed to him. You're just dead because he has the effect that he can negate any card on field, but it targets. But he is the best card in the Crusadia's deck. He is just OP. So you want to keep his at 2. Most definitely. But I kept it at 3 because I didn't really have any other cards. Now we're getting into the Sky Striker package. Now the Sky Striker package, you want to have 3 copies of each Sky Striker. I ran all 3 of them because I didn't know which ones to go from, so I'm keeping my Sky Striker package even. So I'm running 3 copies. 1 copy of Sky Striker Hayate I got from the sneak peek. And I got 1 copy of Sky Striker Kuga. And 1 Sky Striker Suska. Whatever her name is, but she's good. You want to have 1 copy of each Sky Striker. You don't want to brick. But you don't want to mess your Esther deck up that much, so 1 copy of each is good. And 1 Link Karibo in my deck. You see that there? I'm running Link Karibo because it's like the Sky Striker token. You play the token, then you play the Karibo, and you go off with your combo. Same way. That's why you play 1 copy of each. But it's gonna get changed soon, so you want to keep 1 copy, so that's good. Well, that's it for my deck profile. I will show y'all my next video shortly once I get the rest of the cards I need for my new support. Other new support for this deck. But anyway, thank you and have a nice day. If y'all have any questions, come to me.